4 years ago, I was involved in a terrible car accident that completely changed my life. I was rear-ended by a drunk driver, and the injuries were so severe that I was bedridden for 2 months. The pain was unbearable, and I couldn't even move without agony. But the physical pain wasn't the worst part of what happened. During this time, my stepmom falsely accused me of stealing the car without permission, which led to my dad kicking me out of the house. At the time of the accident, I was 16 years old and just days away from taking my driver's license test. I had asked my stepmom for permission to practice driving around our neighbourhood, as my dad had made it clear I needed to ask one of them before using the car. She gave me the green light, so I took the car for a short drive. But after the accident, she twisted the story, telling my dad that I had taken the car to go hang out with friends, trying to make myself look cool, and that I hadn't asked for permission at all. My dad didn't bother to hear my side of the story. He believed her lies and kicked me out while I was still recovering from the accident. Growing up, my stepmom and I never had a great relationship. She came into my life when I was just 4 years old, after my biological mother had left. My mum never wanted to be a part of my life and had signed away her parental rights, so it was just me and my dad. When he started dating my stepmom, things seemed okay at first, but it became clear over time that she had no interest in being a mother to me. She was just my father's wife, nothing more. As I grew older, our relationship became more strained. We argued frequently, often about small, petty things, but she always took it to an extreme level and would complain to my dad about my behaviour. No matter what, he always sided with her, which only made things worse. By the time the accident happened, I was just months away from leaving for college, and I was looking forward to getting away from the constant tension at home. But after the accident and my stepmom's lies, my plans fell apart. My dad didn't want me around anymore, so I had to move in with my grandparents. It wasn't a financial issue. My dad was wealthy, owning his own paper company and having insurance for both the car and the family. The only reason he kicked me out was because of the lies my stepmom fed him. She claimed that she had overheard me talking about sneaking out with friends to impress them, and that she had told me not to do it, but I supposedly ignored her. None of it was true. I was already dealing with the immense pain and stress of recovering from the accident, but her lies made everything worse. For a week, I tried to convince my dad of the truth, but he refused to believe me. In my frustration, I lost my temper and yelled at my stepmom, calling her out for being a liar and accusing her of being jealous that she couldn't have my dad to herself. It's been 4 years since all this happened. My relationship with my dad is still strained, but recently he and my stepmom invited me to their vow renewal ceremony. After everything they put me through, I'm not sure how to feel about it, and it's hard to forget the pain they caused me during one of the most difficult times of my life. Following the traumatic car accident that left me bedridden, my relationship with my father reached a breaking point. I was in a terrible physical condition, unable to move without excruciating pain. Yet, amidst my recovery, my father made the difficult decision to move me out of our home and into my grandparents' care, influenced heavily by my stepmom's deceitful claims. Feeling betrayed, I confronted my father. I expressed my deep hurt over his decision to prioritise my stepmom's words over our relationship, especially given my vulnerable state. He justified his actions by insisting that I needed discipline and could not continue to disrupt his wife's peace. It was clear to me then that his loyalties had shifted, and heartbreakingly, he chose to believe her fabricated version of events over the truth. This revelation shattered me, and in my despair, I vowed never to speak to him again. Growing up, it had always been just my dad and me. My stepmom, who had been around since I was 4, never really felt like family. I always sensed that she didn't view me as family either. After this incident, I resolved that neither my father nor my stepmom deserved to be considered my family, a term I believe should be reserved for those who uphold deep, supportive bonds. My grandparents welcomed me with open arms. They arranged for a full-time nurse and provided the care and affection I needed. Despite their efforts and my hopes, my father remained distant, making excuses not to visit. This neglect continued for 3 months post-accident, leading to a confrontation between him and my grandparents. Eventually, my father admitted that he had no plans to mend our relationship, influenced by my stepmom's ultimatum to choose between us. From then on, our communication ceased. My grandparents, who had been supportive throughout, funded my college education. As I approached graduation, I focused on building a life surrounded by supportive friends and my loving grandparents. Despite the hardships, their presence made my journey toward healing and independence easier. Years passed without contact from my parents, and I had no desire to disrupt the peace I had found. However, out of the blue, my stepmom contacted me, announcing that she and my father were renewing their vows and wanted me to attend. Her invitation was baffling, given our strained past. I immediately responded, declining the invitation. Her request seemed especially insincere, considering the unresolved tensions and the emotional turmoil they had previously caused me. My stepmom reached out to me last week with a somewhat urgent message, informing me that my father would soon formally invite me to attend their vow renewal ceremony. She emphasised that my presence was crucial, not only for family appearances, but also because some of my father's business associates would be there. These associates, familiar with me from family photos on my dad's desk, might find my absence odd and question it, which could be awkward for my father. She urged me to accept the invitation and move past our previous conflicts. However, I was far from ready to let go of the past, especially considering it had been only 4 years since the events that led to our estrangement. I chose to ignore her message and go about my day, but after a few hours of silence from my end, she messaged again. This time, her tone was accusatory and manipulative, labelling me as an ungrateful brat and insisting that I was trying to lower myself even further by ignoring my father's attempt to reconcile, which she claimed I didn't deserve. Her message escalated quickly into threats. She implied that my future inheritance of my father's business or wealth could be at risk if I refused to attend the event, stating she would ensure that I'd be cut off financially. Frustrated and angered by her audacious threats, I blocked her number, a step I hadn't felt necessary until that point. However, even that wasn't the end of her attempts to reach me. She next tried to contact me via email, reiterating that I absolutely had to accept the invitation, as the vow renewal wasn't just a personal event, but also tied to my father's business interests. Her persistent threats and the tone of necessity over genuine reconciliation pushed me to a breaking point. I decided to address the situation publicly by sharing all previous conversations and a detailed account of our past conflicts on social media. I made the post public, tagging my father, my stepmom, and a few of his business associates who were connected to me on social media. The post quickly spread, and the backlash was immediate. My father's reputation suffered, potentially jeopardizing a planned merger with an office supplies company. This merger was not only significant for his business, but was also still in its formative stages, and now it faced cancellation due to the fallout from my revelations. A day after my post went live, my grandparents informed me that my father was devastated by the consequences of my actions, which had led to a significant loss for him professionally. Although my intention was to shed light on my personal grievances and the unfair treatment I had received, the repercussions affected more than just my stepmom and me, dragging my father's business into the fray. Feeling a mix of justification and regret, I contemplated the impact of my actions. My grandparents expressed their belief that my approach might have been too harsh, particularly since my father was indirectly affected by a battle primarily between my stepmom and me. In response to the unfolding events and the feedback from my grandparents and some peers on social media, I decided to remove the post. While it felt necessary at the moment to call out the unfair treatment, the broader implications made me question if I had chosen the right way to handle the situation. Some people have wondered why I refer to my dad and my stepmom collectively as my parents, especially since it's clear we don't get along. The simple reason is, my dad is my biological father, and my stepmom has been in my life since I was a child. It's become a habit to refer to them this way, and honestly, it's not something I give much thought to. It's just easier to say. Now, back to the recent events. After the backlash from my social media post, I decided to take it down. Despite many comments suggesting I didn't owe anyone an apology, I felt the need to reach out to my dad. I didn't exactly apologise, but explained that I was still deeply affected by the events from 4 years ago. I felt that his attempt to reconcile at the vow renewal, seemingly to show a united family front for his business associates, was insincere, especially given the manipulative behaviour from my stepmom. I put all this in a message to him, not expecting much of a response considering the circumstances. Surprisingly, he replied calmly, acknowledging that he deserved the public call-out for his past actions, and that he didn't blame me for reacting the way I did. His unexpected understanding threw me off, prompting me to consult my grandparents. They revealed that my father had been grappling with regret for a while. Before receiving my message, he had confided in them about his doubts and guilt over how he handled things, after being swayed by my stepmom's convincing but misleading portrayals of my behaviour. My grandparents explained that his intentions for inviting me to the vow renewal were genuine, and not just for appearances as my stepmom had insinuated. In fact, the event wasn't even going to include his business associates. It was meant to be a small, intimate gathering. This revelation made me realise that my stepmom might have been trying to drive a wedge between my father and me. After confronting these truths, my dad recognised the lies and manipulations from my stepmom, which had also caused a strain in their relationship. He hadn't heard back about the business merger, assuming it was off, and was now dealing with personal turmoil. My grandparents commended me for reaching out to him, not to apologise, but to clarify my stance. They believe, and I agree, that an apology from my side isn't necessary given the circumstances. This whole ordeal has left me in a complex emotional state, reflecting on my actions and their repercussions. While I'm relieved to understand my father's perspective better and see his regret, I'm still navigating through the mixed feelings about our potential reconciliation and what that means for our family dynamics moving forward. There's been a lot of confusion stirred by my stepmother's actions, and my initial reaction might have seemed harsh to some. I reacted like anyone else might in my position, but I took a step further to reach out to my father and try to mend things between us, which my grandparents appreciated. However, navigating my emotions in this newly rekindled contact with my dad has been complex. After years of silence, handling these resurfacing feelings isn't straightforward. In the wake of my social media update, many advised me to maintain a no-contact stance with my father. But cutting off ties abruptly doesn't sit right with me, especially after breaking the silence. There are still so many unresolved issues and lingering questions that I need answers to. I feel that even a single conversation for closure is necessary before I can consider distancing myself again. Ignoring the judgment from others, I trust in my own decisions. My heart is leading me toward resolution and understanding, not prolonged estrangement. I discussed these feelings with my grandparents, who support the idea of a mediated conversation with my dad. They're currently helping to arrange this meeting. Interestingly, things between my dad and my stepmom seem unstable, and they might be heading toward a divorce. Ironic given their recent plans to renew their vows. My grandparents are also reconnecting with my father, feeling the urgency due to their age and the finite time they have to repair strained relationships. From what my grandparents relay, my dad appears genuinely remorseful about the past. The potential business merger and its fallout seem trivial to him now. He's more concerned with the mistakes he made as a parent. According to them, he frequently expresses regret about his failures and seems focused on making amends. It's challenging to see things from his perspective, but hearing about his regrets and current emotional state has opened a pathway to potentially understanding him better. My grandparents believe a face-to-face conversation could facilitate healing, and I'm cautiously hopeful about it. 4 days ago, that much-anticipated meeting took place at my grandparents' house. It was intensely emotional, reuniting after such a fraught separation. We discussed everything candidly, and my father took the opportunity to apologize deeply for the pain he caused. He admitted he had failed in his role as a father and credited me with growing into a better person than he could have hoped for, something he feels he had little part in given the circumstances. He acknowledged his mistakes, especially trusting my stepmother over me, which he regrets profoundly. He explained how he was manipulated by her, having never suspected she would deceive him. This confession was a lot to process, but it was also enlightening, revealing the complexities of his relationship with her that I hadn't fully understood before. This meeting, though long overdue, has opened a new chapter for us. It's a chance for rebuilding and possibly forgiving, though I'm still processing everything and determining the best path forward. The support from my grandparents has been invaluable, and as we navigate these renewed connections, I remain hopeful yet cautious. My father admitted he was utterly confused about whom to trust and what to believe, which ultimately led to him making the wrong decisions. After kicking me out, his doubts about those choices grew, but he never mustered the courage to reach out and confront his errors. When we finally talked, he expressed deep remorse and left the decision to mend our relationship up to me, saying he'd understand if I chose not to forgive him and maintain our distance because he recognized the gravity of his mistakes. During our conversation, he also revealed that he and my stepmom were getting a divorce. She had moved out after a confrontation that escalated when he questioned her about the lies she told concerning the vow renewal invitation. It turned out she had also lied about the circumstances surrounding the car accident 2 years ago. This was the last straw for him, leading him to ask her to leave and to file for divorce. Faced with all this, I couldn't decide immediately whether to forgive him. I asked for some time to think things over. Now, I'm in a period of reflection, trying to decide if I should give him a second chance. Many might advise against it, but he's still my father, and the decision is mine alone. Importantly, I'm approaching a stage in life where I'll soon be financially independent, about to graduate from college and secure a job. This reassures me that my decision isn't influenced by financial dependence or expectations. In terms of his motivations, I'm certain that he's not trying to reconcile just to have someone to lean on after retirement. His business remains robust despite the recent setbacks, and this reassures me that any attempts at mending our relationship are motivated by genuine emotion, not financial need. This situation isn't just about deciding whether to forgive him. It's about whether I want to rebuild this father-daughter relationship. After much thought, I'm leaning towards giving it a chance. Despite the rocky past few years, I can't overlook the entirety of our history, which had many more good moments than bad. I've decided to engage in therapy with him to better navigate our issues and improve our communication. We're committed to making an effort, hoping to find common ground and heal our relationship. My grandparents support this decision, and I feel hopeful about moving forward and leaving the past behind. This is a chance to possibly have the normal family dynamic I've longed for, and I'm ready to embrace it fully. I'm genuinely ready to move past the old grievances and build a new, healthier relationship with my father.